high flyers, top achievers, businessmen, doctors, hoteliers, scientists, engineers, and now governors and ambassadors. Dreamers and bridge builders between the world's largest democracies, the 3.2 million strong Indian community in America has emerged as a model immigrant community, enriching their adopted country with enterprise, innovation, skills, and unrelenting hard work. The growing profile of the Indian American community will be in focus when India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi goes on his maiden trip to the United States. Around 20,000 odd Indian Americans will be traveling from all over the United States to hear Prime Minister Modi speak to them at the largest ever community reception organized in the honor of the Indian Prime Minister at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
The Indian American community plays a critically important role, and this is going to be a coming out event for them in a sense. It's not going to be the first time they have been mobilized. I think the first large-scale mobilization of the Indian American community, when they mobilize themselves in a spontaneous, at the grassroots level, in lobbying their congressmen and senators for a cause which they felt was very dear to them, was on the India-US civil nuclear deal.
Clearly, this will be the high moment for the Indian American community, which has come a long way from the initial wave of immigration in the 19th and early 20th century. Starting from a trickle, the Indian Americans are now the third largest immigrant community in America, with the numbers growing by over 150 times in the past 5 decades. Now their success story spans just about every sphere of life in America, from business, the professions, academia, law, media and social activism, to fashion and Hollywood as actors, filmmakers and producers. They are setting new benchmarks for excellence and achievement. Indian IT professionals have become pivotal to the Silicon Valley and keep it humming with new ideas.
The 3 million strong Indian American community, that is US citizens of Indian origin, and 1 million strong Indian citizens with permanent residency in the United States, they play a role more than their numbers indicate. Why? Because of one is, if you look at this community in terms of educational accomplishments, they are about the highest in terms of any ethnic group in India, and they are also the lowest in some area, which is in the area of crime. If you look at the number of university presidents, provosts, deans, eminent professors, if you look at the number of people who come in contact with a much larger number of their fellow Americans than any other ordinary American citizen, the number of hotel and motel owners, the number of lawyers, the number of doctors, physicians of Indian origin. If you look at that, their impact is much more than the number.
Chasing the great American dream, Indian Americans are also now venturing into politics and diplomacy. The tryst with politics started decades ago when Dalip Singh Sohn entered the US Congress from California in 1956. There are now 2 governors of Indian origin, Bobby Jindal in Louisiana and Nikki Haley in South Carolina, plus a handful of state representatives. In government and administration, Indian Americans are also making their presence felt. President Barack Obama has appointed a record number of Indian Americans in his administration. Nisha Biswal is Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asia. Rajiv Shah is the Chief of USAID, the top US aid dispenser. President Obama has nominated 3 Indian Americans for judicial appointments, from Sri Srinivasan to the Court of Appeals, Vince Giridhari Chabaria to the North Carolina District Court, and Manish Shah for the District Court of North District of Illinois. And now Richard Rahul Verma, a second-generation immigrant, is set to be the first Indian American to become the US Ambassador to India. A magnet for young minds, the United States attracts over 100,000 Indian students every year, making them the second highest group of international students studying at American institutions. As the leaders of India and the United States look to map out new frontiers, they can always bank on Indian Americans to keep the defining partnership of the 21st century in robust health and to bring the two vibrant democracies in a closer embrace in days to come.